At the Bridge Church here in September, we're talking about this the series called Where We're Going. We're talking about our vision, where we want to be as a church, as well as the kinds of things that stop us from that. So this past week we talked about our battle, our spiritual battle.
What? Craig!
Get out of here! Yeah, that's right. It wasn't quite the fiery darts of the evil one, and this isn't quite a full shield, but you get the picture. As believers in Jesus and as a church as a whole, there is a battle, there is a struggle. We talked about that this past week from Ephesians chapter 6. We talked about how our battle is with the enemy, with these spiritual forces of evil, with Satan and with those spirituul forces under him. We talked about the way that they engage us in this battle, sometimes from the full frontal assault, kind of like Nate did here, sometimes kind of as an ambush from behind, a sneak attack that we don't see coming, something much more insidious. We talked about how we need to be aware of these things, and then from Ephesians 6, we looked at the way that we fight the battle. We talked about the armor of God, what constitutes the armor of God. We talked about prayer as perhaps the primary offensive weapon we have as believers. These are very different kinds of weapons and a very different kind of warfare from the warfare of our world. And finally, we talked about how in the end, the armor of God is armor that God has, that characterizes God. In fact, our armor is God himself. He fights this battle. In fact, he's already fought the battle and he's won. Jesus Christ has defeated the powers of evil at the cross and through the resurrection. And so now we live in light of that victory. We live in his presence, him fighting the battle before us and ahead of us. And so if we want to be victorious in the battle that all of us fight, it requires living in Christ, in his power, in the weapons that he gives us of truth, of love, of the other ones, of faith, and so on. So my one big question for you this week as you think about this passage and the sermon you heard is this: where are you particularly vulnerable to the attacks of the evil one?